Anxiety sucks, right? Big time. I wonder if you, like me, have been a bit of a sufferer of anxiety and have found how much it just hinders your life and holds you back from doing stuff. I've been doing a series of videos and I'm thinking more and more about anxiety and the hold that it often has on us. And today I'm up at this beautiful headland looking down at the peace of the ocean rolling in. And I'm wondering if you watch it with me, you can see just how still it really is. There's waves breaking. Can you see the gentle flow of it? Can you see the rhythm of that? I heard a statement once about the unforced rhythms of grace, and it really struck me as a very deep and meaningful phrase. To live in the unforced rhythms of grace, something that we don't do very often, particularly if we have anxiety. It's something that kind of eludes us mostly. We don't tend to live in an unforced rhythm of anything. We live in a very driven way. We tend to be very driven by obligations, by deadlines. We tend to be driven by the things that have to be done and got out of the way because, oh my goodness, I'm feeling very anxious about getting that. I've got to get it out of the way. I'm so anxious. I can't rest until I get that thing done. But then, guess what? Well, that thing's done and we're still anxious. It didn't seem to help, did it? It didn't seem to help getting that thing done. It didn't seem to help getting that thing sorted. It takes a little tiny bit of pressure off, but the anxiety remains, and we still have to be there with ourselves. And I think that's where the problem lies, right? It's within us. Sure, the circumstances of life stir it up. Oh, don't they what? Anxiety sucks, man. It sucks bad. And the circumstances of our life, the going to work, the getting up, the travelling, the car, the people, the shopping centres, the obligations, the bills, the stresses of the relationships that we have to navigate. Oh my goodness, do they bring some stress and anxiety to our lives. But guess what? That's not the cause, is it? We know that deep inside. The anxieties, we know. We can get to a place like this, as I've said before in these videos. I can be at a place like this, and some mornings I'm here, and this is the honest truth, some mornings I'm here at this place, either this exact place or down there where we're looking at walking on that beach. And you know what? I'm as anxious as anything. I'm just stirred up inside. There's no rest in my spirit. There's no sense of connection to the greater story. All there is this sort of low-grade anxiety that drives me. Quick, get in there, get this done, get on with your day. Hopefully you can drown out that voice that's going inside you, that motor that's racing 24/7. I wonder if that's like similar to something that you've experienced. We talked a little bit in the last video about PTSD and how the lingering effects of trauma just stick with us and hold us down. And it's just so bad, it really hurts and it cuts us off from our world. It's a dreadful, dreadful thing. And so many of you guys out there are suffering that, and I really feel for you. And there's so many different levels of it. And as I mentioned, there's, even from birth or before, you can pick up anxiety and run with it. For myself, that's been a big part of my journey, and I've picked it up, it would seem, from the very womb of my mother. Maybe it's been passed down even from generations before. I believe that has happened. But how do we overcome it? Well, we've been talking about it. The still part of ourself, the still small voice within us, to listen and to focus inside. Not to go looking elsewhere for the answers, but to recognise that within ourselves there's a kind of a God voice that speaks clearly if we can stop long enough. If we can just slow the revs down, even just for a few moments, we might hear that voice going, it's okay, you can do this. You've got this. I am with you. I will not leave you. You are not alone. I understand your journey. I empathise with the feelings of your pain and your suffering. I understand how hard it is. That's a beautiful voice. And it's a beautiful thing to hear within yourself. But to still yourself is the most challenging part, to get to that place, to hearing that voice. We've got to get aside from our lives in some way. We've got to get out of our routines and get to a place maybe like this, maybe in your backyard, maybe in a forest, maybe by a river, somewhere where there's something bigger than yourself. Look at the size of this, will you? Check out the size of this. How can I stay in my smaller story when I begin to look at this? It just draws me out. And like I said, I don't succeed every time, but I do succeed a lot more than I fail when I come here. Why? Because I think there's some energy here, there's a sense of God's presence, there's a sense of spirit here that draws me on and keeps me, I guess, wanting and desiring deeper, wanting and desiring more than just the surface of my life, of getting things done, of getting through the day. Because I can get through the day and then I'll be still anxious at night. There can be still another thing that comes along. There'll be a phone call, there can be something that throws you or trips you up. So much that leads us away, so many distractions that take us away from the peaceful inner part of our lives. So many things that lead to anxiety and greater fear, so that rather than being who we really are meant to be, our truest self, we're sort of stuck in this kind of false self that's like a cover or a veneer, if you like. So we present the veneer to the world, we present this false self and go, yeah, people might see us and think, yeah, they're going well, they're doing well, they're good, they got it all together. But underneath we know that we're just basically holding it together. It's a fine line, isn't it, and you're like, come on, man, this anxiety sucks. It causes me to put on a show for others, and yet in my own life I'm falling to bits. I wonder if we can start to be more authentic, to understand that many of us suffer anxiety, and there is absolutely no shame in that. And in fact, some of the people that look the best on the outside, once they open up, will tell you just how much anxiety they have. I listen to a lot of interviews, a lot of stories. Famous people who've done some pretty amazing things really struggle with anxiety a lot of the time, and it's incredible that they can keep getting up and doing that, putting themselves out there in front of people. Like, hats off to them. It's tough. It really is. I was telling a story, about some of the things that I've done and pushed through and found to be extremely challenging. Rolling up to a group, for example, a business group that I used to be part of, feeling like absolute rubbish and, stirred up and anxious, and knowing that I'm going to be the one that's leading this group in the next 10 or 15 minutes, feeling like I've got absolutely nothing to offer. Why would these people come to this business group? What have I got to offer to them? And yet, at the end of the meeting, most people say, oh, that was awesome, man. I could start my day. I really enjoyed that. Thanks for putting it on, and, that sort of thing. But beforehand, or even during as you lead into it, nothing. Emptiness. Just, there's nothing in the tank, nothing to give, nothing to offer. Why would anyone want what I've got? This tends to be the message of the anxious person. Sadly, I'm sure that it could be part of your message too. And I want to smash that open and break that lie down and tell you that's not the reality. That's not the truth. The truth is you have abundant life dwelling in you. You have hope on a deep basis right down inside you that's been hidden underneath this strong layer of anxiety and fear that's held you down. Underneath there is beauty, is love, is hope, is joy, is peace. The suffering that you've had has driven you in, but you can find while you're in there something that's a total gem, and that is spirit. The spirit is within you deeply, right inside you, and can be accessed through stillness. The contemplative life is about stillness and finding rest for your soul. Can I invite you to go inside today in some way and to find a space of rest and hope? To find a place where you can be okay, to know who you really are, to understand who you really are and what makes you tick. What is your gift to the world? You've got one? No doubt at all. You've got a great gift to offer to the world. It may be hidden underneath the fear, but it's there. For we all got something. We've all got something to offer and to give. So I hope that you can find that today and look within yourself and find some great beauty that you may have overlooked in the past. Thanks for listening.